Hey folks, my guest today is Alban. He's a developer who started his career in the US and discovered the startup world when he came back to France in 2015. He worked in structures that helped entrepreneurs with projects while starting his own projects on the side. One of those projects emerged as Select EEV, and that has been growing organically now for 5 years. Is now getting a marketing boost to actually grow to its full potential. We're going to jump in today. Alban, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah.
All right, 5 years as a side project. Why didn't you start pouring the gas on this bad boy earlier?
Well, basically, it's a pretty long story. It's a project that's a spin-off from another job, like an older job, and it's been growing organically. I've got a lot of side projects, and this is one of them, and it started growing a lot more this year. So we're getting into marketing and maybe a bit of sales.
Okay. And so we want to jump into why it started growing more this year. But first, people don't know what this thing is yet. How would you describe it? What does it do?
So basically, it helps structures like administrations, corporations, or incubators, accelerators to select candidates. So any type of calls for applications. It can be for events. It can be for specific programs to get in something. Like universities could use it, for example. And yeah, basically, it's anything that's not an HR candidate. We could use it for HR candidates, but it's not really made for it. Basically, anytime you need to evaluate a candidate with different evaluators, that's where we come in to help.
Now you have a bunch of different pricing plans based off number of candidates, how many evaluations, and customization and feature-based upselling, chat support, etc. But if I forced you to give me an average, what would you say the average customer pays you today per month?
Basically, it's about 200 euros a month. That's
Okay.
the standard plan is the most used by far. Usually, what the customer takes is about 3 to 4 months for one call for applications, and usually they do it twice a year. So it's about six to 8 months a year of all of pricing.
And it sounds like the most critical usage metric for you is number of candidates processed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess the main difference between the first two plans are there's a few options that you can use in the standard plan, like file upload, multi-language, things like that. But yeah, mostly the biggest metric is the number of candidates or the number of evaluators as well. That's a pretty big one.
And so
This is
last
a lot
month
of yeah. So
in
sorry, go for it.
in April here of 2020, how many candidates were analyzed?
In April of
Last
2022,
month.
you mean? Oh, okay. I would say in total on our customers, I would say about 10 to 15,000, something like
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay. And that's across how many, I guess you call them evaluators?
Um, that's something I don't really know because we're not our heads in the platforms because the customers manage everything. So we're a
I
SaaS
see.
platform. So I would say less than 100 evaluators.
Less than, I guess, across how many individual customers? Or is it
Structures, yeah, that would be around 30.
okay? So you're
We,
very
we've got two
targeted.
pretty big customers that have more than 5,000 candidates per call for applications.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
that grows the numbers.
So is that a good or bad thing to have that kind of customer concentration risk?
It's again, it's a side project. That's why we're searching for more customers, because right now it can't really become a company until we find a lot more, and we're going for international as well. We've got a few customers in the US, we've got a few customers in India, Mexico, Germany, but yeah, it's something we just need to set up a strategy to go get more, because we actually solve issues for these guys.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Now, look, there's a lot of my listeners that are exactly like you. They're engineers that can also market, right? Maybe a little bit, maybe really well. They have a bunch of side projects. And this whole idea of like, oh crap, one of my side projects is kind of taking off. Should I like kill the other babies and go all in on this is a big decision, right? So like you just use verbiage like when it becomes or to become a real company, right? What does that mean?
It means, so I'm in a startup world now. So whenever we go for, fundraising or whatever, you look at the size of your market. I'm not sure that Selective can go for fundraising, for example, because the market is pretty small and temporal. It's like you need to find the people who will be having a calls for application in the next year or so. That's not that it's not that many companies in the world compared to people who need to sell something. And if you do a platform that helps selling, then your market is a lot bigger. So I guess that's why for now it's stated side projects.
Why do you correlate being a real company with if you've raised funding or not? There are way more real companies that are non-funded.
Yeah, it's just an example I was taking just to give you a market size, which is something that's really, really important for fundraising. I'm not talking about genuinely always fundraising. It's just like
I want to know for you, not a VC or someone you're trying to raise funding from. For you, what does it mean to be a real company as a side hacker with a lot of projects?
Yeah, I would say be able to pay people. Okay. Right now, I'm able to pay one person, not more than that.
Mm-hmm. So there's 2 of you guys full time right now.
Well, yeah, and we've got freelancers, so that makes the team to about 6 people. But yeah, what I would call a real company would be like 6 full-time people in one office type of thing.
So 2 full-time, 4 freelancers.
Yeah.
And Alban, a lot of folks, when they get going, obviously to keep costs low, they use freelancers. But a lot of people fail miserably. They burn through freelancers because they don't know how to manage them properly. Explain to me what those 4 freelancers do for you and how you get the most out of them, the most productivity.
Well, basically, each of them is pretty much on their own space. So we've got one that's doing mostly marketing, like content marketing. The other one is doing mostly LinkedIn growth. And the 2 others are organizing webinars. So it's cold emailing, and I'm the one giving the webinars, but they're doing the entire marketing process around it. So yeah, everybody has his space, and they decide whatever they want to do. We just have specific directions that the company wants to take. But for that, the rest of the job is basically they have paternity on what they're doing. We're not
Alban, what's the difference between the first 2? You said marketing and growth. What's the difference between the 2?
basically marketing is mostly around content SEO. How do you drive inbound traffic? And the growth is more about reaching out to people on
I
LinkedIn,
see.
email, multi diffusion. Well,
And then
not diffusion.
let's start with the marketing SEO content. How'd you find that person? Did you use a marketplace or a friend?
Yeah, basically a freelancer marketplace, and I benchmarked a bunch of people and talked to a
What's
lot
it
of them.
called?
And it's called Melt.fr. It's
MELT.
yeah, I guess it's the biggest French freelancer marketplace. And yeah, it's
Oh,
basically
Malt.
you
MMALT.
MLT. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically you just need to find a good fit. That's for me. It's the most important one.
Now, Alban, though, you said something very specific, which, and this is like playbook 101 for managing freelancers, which is you said you sort of measure the quality across a bunch of marketers before maybe picking one. So, how did you structure that? Did you put together like a one-page project and give it to 10 of them and then pick the best one to do full time, or how'd you do that?
No, I just had conversations on how they would see the strategy for the actual work, and you can tell a lot from that.
Now, did you use Malt to find the growth person and your two webinar people?
I no the webinar people I think I found through LinkedIn or recommendations. I believe I can remember because it's been a while. But
Very
the growth and
interesting.
marketing guys, yes.
Okay, very cool. And then again, put this on a timeline. When did you launch? When did you write the first line of code for Selective?
That was actually in my job 3 jobs ago. So 2015, 2017, I would say 16 or
Okay.
17. Because it was an internal project. Basically, I worked in one of the biggest French startup accelerators, and we had a lot of incoming startups that wanted to enter. So we had to build something to filter them.
And they
And
had no
so
problem with you spinning it out, and you don't have to give them a bunch of equity or anything.
no. Basically, when I left the company, the product was dying if I didn't take it. And so the deal was that I would take it and they would use it for free for life, and then I would do whatever I needed
That's
with it.
amazing. So you own 100% equity today.
Yeah.
Ah, we love that. Okay, so we can maybe do some math here, right? You said 30 customers, average ARPU of 200 euros, 230 US dollars. That would put you at around $7,000 of monthly recurring revenue right now. Is that about accurate?
Yeah.
And just so we can understand growth, where were you exactly 1 year ago?
I would say half of that.
Okay.
Yeah, around
And
around
and
half.
and you almost sounded surprised at the beginning of this interview about the growth that's happened recently. Like it wasn't a result of your inputs, it just like magically happened. What happened?
Well, COVID happened, so that's why I'm surprised. Because we had a pretty big drop because we had a bunch of customers who had events, and the events just closed down. So whenever you need to select speakers or have a prize or whatever in your event, then you just don't do it anymore. So we lost a bunch of revenue on that, and now it's coming back.
Very interesting. Okay.
And I
So
guess the most surprising thing is like we don't have a lot of churn. So older
how low is it?
customers that stopped during COVID are coming back while we have new customers that showed up.
Oh, I see. I see. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So what you mentioned though that like growth. So besides just people coming back, like the outbound people doing webinars and stuff, explain to me, is that an effective strategy for you? Do you think you can grow to 1,000 customers using webinars?
I would hope so. I wouldn't think so, but I would hope so. The webinars usually we have around 30 people per webinar, so once a month, and right now I'd say the conversion rate would be one customer per month. So because it's very temporal, so that's a complicated part. It's that the first time they hear about you, they already have a tool, or they're thinking about changing, or they haven't organized the call for applications ever, and so they don't know where to start. And so from when you start talking to them to when they're ready to actually get started, there can be a year.
Interesting. Okay, so webinar strategy is working, doing one per month. You sign up 30 people. They're doing outbound to get people signed up for that. And then give me like the headline. What's the headline of the webinar?
It's basically how to manage your call for applications and simplify your life during evaluations.
Interesting. So you have some copywriting skills inside of there. You make that a sexy title for a tool that some people might find be very boring.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the goal. Well, it's a boring tool, but it's not as boring as an Excel spreadsheet, right? And that's how
Yeah.
usually it works. It's like our main competitor is Google Form. So basically, people get their candidates on a Google Form, and then they have this Excel spreadsheet that they have to share to everybody and manage evaluations by email or PDF or whatever you can think about. And we're just like, okay, we have this little star system where you click on stars and it grades your candidate, and you weight the answers as you want. And if you want to do an evaluation funnel, then you can. So it sounds sexy to the people who suffered the Excel spreadsheet, I'd say.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, hey, this is a heck of a story. We're rooting for you. Let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
That's not something I have in mind. I'd
Okay.
say something like Steve Jobs, biography. But
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
of course, Elon Musk, like pretty much everybody else, because he's just a weirdo.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building selective?
Online tool. Uh, what do you mean by online? I would say Figma.
Figma. Yeah, that's what we mean.
Yeah.
All right. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
8.
8. Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Well, not married, but not single either. It's like I don't know how you
Okay.
say
So
that.
no kids.
No kids.
All right. And Alban, how old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Last question. Something you wish you knew back when you were 20.
How to make money on a website that I had that was really working out well.
Guys, there you have it. Selective.io. It's a tool that helps you analyze and evaluate candidates. Launched back in 2017, spun it out of an accelerator, actually, his former company he was working at. He owns 100% equity today. It's Bootstrapped, doing 3,500 in MRR a year ago, now up to $7,000 a month, or about 82,000 bucks in terms of run rate. And he's going, you know what? There might be something here. Let me try and build this. Has one other full-time partner here, and then 4 freelancers currently growing the business, mainly using webinars. We'll see what happens next. Alban, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.